So, hello, folks. I'm here today with one of the new breed of psychological entertainers, or mentalists as they're known. His name is Doug Segal. And
Hello.
hello, Doug. Unlike most mentalists, Doug actually boggles your mind and makes you laugh at the same time. So he comes from a kind of comedy side of this, rather than Darren Brown, who's a bit more serious, who's a similar type of act, yeah? So, just a bit of background to yourself, Doug. Last year you won the Best Cabaret at the Brighton Fringe. You won 3 Weeks Editors Award, one of the best 10 things at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is some achievement. You've been on Dutch TV numerous times. You've been on BBC One, New Year's show, an audience of 9.5 million. You've had 2 sellout UK tours. And basically you're on the rise, yes?
Well, I hope so. I could be on the rise, or worryingly, this could be the pinnacle. What you're now witnessing is the start of my decline. That's a possibility too, isn't it?
It's always
that would just be tragic, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. You've won. You've done something in your life, so the rest then, I don't know, you just take it as it comes. I'm sure you'll, with your skills and talents, you'll at least be able to get lots of women into bed, yeah?
You've actually stolen one of the stock lines I usually use in interviews. People always say to me, "How did you start doing this?" And I say that, basically what I do is I started. I studied psychology at uni, and I just kind of realised that I could do. I could take what was being taught and then use that to do little party pieces to kind of impress women and win drinks off my mates.
So that's the only reason I want to interview you today. Does it work? Does it work?
Well, all I can say is with great power comes great responsibility, Billy.
Yeah. Okay, so you choose the good-looking ones and then go for it. Okay, so that's basically, you started doing that then back in the day. So you've done a psychology course at university, you said, yeah? So what made you go into that, coming out of school? What made you choose psychology?
Wow, I have literally never been asked that. I honestly don't know. I mean, it's just, I'd always been interested in it. I'd always been interested in kind of, not so much the mind, but kind of why do people make the decisions they make, and kind of, I suppose it must have sounded like a really Machiavellian little kid, which I don't know if I was, but I was always kind of interested in kind of why do people do things, and that's kind of, and that was, as studies progressed, that was kind of, and I've got the option to kind of choose which modules I was going to focus on. It was always that sort of stuff that I was interested in, really. I've never really sat down and thought about the reasons why. It's just something that's always interested me, and I think, thank goodness it seems to interest other people, because, kind of the last year's show was called How to Read Minds and Influence People. This year's show is called I Can Make You a Mentalist. And, thankfully people seem to be quite interested in kind of wanting to know how that works. Because that's really my other big point of difference, other than kind of being funny, is that I teach the audience how to do it. That's kind of my shtick, really.
Yeah, that's what you've kind of developed into the past year or so. You've been
that's right, yeah.
In that, yeah. So I'd just like to focus again a little bit on the start, and how you progressed to that. So you've done psychology at uni, and was it specifically advertising psychology, or was that just, you had to get a job when you finished uni and you went into advertising to use that knowledge?
No, nobody ever chooses to go into advertising. It's one of the things.
It's kind of the last thing in the
one
books.
of those things where I think all that happens is kind of you get this degree and go, crap, I can't get a job actually doing something. Oh, advertising will take anyone. I'll go and work with them.
Right.
And then the devil gives you a 50p piece and signs you on and takes away your heart. I'll be honest, kind of, it's weird. I always slag off advertising. I think that people kind of expect you to do it, but I'll be honest with you, I had a really good time for most of it. I just got a bit sort of bored towards the end, really.
Well, I was going to actually ask you that. It's not just the corporate world in general, that being a number in an organisation that kind of sucks your soul dry, and then the whole point of, you stepping out and being your own thing is what I think people need to, evolve towards. So was it more a case of just that than the actual advertising industry itself?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, kind of, working in advertising, but one of the things it did was it enabled me to, it's terribly serious, but it enabled me to kind of work with lots of different types of businesses at a really, really high level. So kind of, the people I was doing, I'd be dealing with the marketing director of I'm trying to think what can I say worked on without giving away. There's a question you'll ask me later. I'll doubtless refer back to, and I shouldn't give away which client it is. But so, for example, I worked on American Express. So my day-to-day contact would be with the marketing director of American Express, who was called Catherine Jacobs, and was really lovely. But so kind of you got an insight into the way lots of different businesses work. I worked on that. I worked on French Connection, like the FC UK stuff, and I worked on the post office, and I worked on a number of car manufacturers. I won't say which one, but well-known car manufacturers.
And what was your role? What was your role in that?
Sorry?
What was your role? What did you do with that?
Yeah, so a lot of people kind of think that advertising is literally just all about bringing up the ad.
Uh-huh.
The area I worked in was basically there are people, and we're breaking up a little bit. You there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Cool. It's just my end. I've got like echo on the line. Okay, so there are people that dream up the ads, and there are people that work out the best way to get that message in front of people, and that's kind of what I did. So my role was to understand the way in which people consumed that advertising message, and I worked in a really specific area. Like my specialist field was reaching people at the time with the right sort of message at a point where they're most likely to respond to it.
That's
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
So it was a continuation really of the sort of stuff I was doing with the psychology degree, and that's kind of expanded my pool of party pieces, I guess, and meant that it kind of led me to actually doing this. I started doing like little tricks and things in business meetings not business meetings, lunch meetings with clients. And one of them, who was a major German car manufacturer, we'll leave it at that, basically bullied me into doing a show for their global conference in Munich.
Right.
And it went quite well. And then, I have no idea what led me to do this, but then I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll book a theatre. So I booked 2 weeks at the Barons Court Theatre in London, and that went really, really well, although it's kind of very different to what I'm doing now. And then I just kind of realised I was never going to make the money I was making advertising, but maybe I could get my cold, shriveled heart back. And so now I'm a poor, struggling artist, but very happy.
Uh-huh. So basically, you were just showing off kind of lunchtime one time and having a bit of laugh, and then that's kind of led you to where you are now then?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. I mean, I guess I built up a bit of reputation. I've kind of become that guy who did those things.
All right. What kind of things were you doing in those days?
I'm particularly proud of. And then kind of, so I'd remember these guys frequently, and you probably lunch your clients once or twice a week. So, they'd just be doing a couple of times a week maybe.
Uh-huh.
And literally the guy kind of said to me, you should put a show together. And I was like, you don't understand what I do is I plan your media consumption for your advertising campaign. And he went, no, you should do it. And kind of bullied me into doing it, basically.
Uh-huh.
This is a bit weird. There's a really bad echo on my line, so I can't tell if you're trying to talk to me, if I'm talking over you or not. So I'll just leave pauses.
Yeah, just you keep talking. Basically, I was just saying, what kind of stuff were you doing in those days? Is it similar to what you're doing on stage now, or is it a bit completely different?
Yeah, I mean, well, at its heart, there's only a limited number of things, really. I can put a thought in your head. I can get a thought out of your head, and I can kind of influence your decisions. That, broadly speaking, I mean, that's a really sort of sweeping statement. That, broadly speaking, is all I can do. So the little things I was doing before were much more basic. And then, as you say, kind of in the last couple of years, I've kind of flipped it on its head, and I've kind of found ways to either literally teach the audience, look, this is how I'm doing it. Let me show you how I'm doing it. Or teach them something they can do at home, which sadly I can't do over the phone. But there is something we can do together later. Or literally, as I'm doing with the news show, in the news show, a random audience member gets chosen at the beginning of the show, and they're going to do the show.
The whole show?
The whole show.
Oh my God, I thought it was just a bit
I'm excited about it. It's amazing. Basically, what I'm doing in the news show is kind of, I'm doing two things that nobody's ever done before. I mean, kind of, I think, I'm dogged a bit and I'm suffered a bit, and quite reasonably by kind of the Darren Brown comparison. I think, you made that at the beginning.
Well,
because,
everybody does, yeah.
In terms of mentalists, the guy's the preeminent guy in the UK. He's the go-to man. He's the big brand, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know what I've always tried to do is kind of move my act away from that. So where I'm at now is the new show contains animation. It contains sketch comedy, both live sketches and video sketches. It contains there's live music. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And the basic premise is that I've invented a machine called the Brainmatizer. It's a comedy machine. Somebody gets randomly selected at the beginning of the show. Based in the Brainmatizer, that charges them up with the abilities to do what they're going to need to do during the show. They get given 4 practical tasks and 3 written tasks to do, and they perform those mind-reading mentalism challenges through the show.
Yeah, that's totally incredible.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. But and I'm not even kind of stopped there. So what I've done, it's like a cross between, if you like, my show, Pappy's. Have you ever seen Pappy's, the sketch comedy guys? What they do is their show is it's sketch comedy without a fourth wall. So all the sketches are kind of happening with them here and now in the room. If you see what I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
So they talk to the audience during the sketches. So and the other thing about that sketch is it propels the storyline of their show along. So that there is a storyline in my show. There are video sketches and sketches that I take part in, and the person on stage when he takes part in. Literally, there's a bit where she gets given a script, a video plays on the screen where there are 3 actors who have pre-recorded their half of the sketch, and me and her, we do the other half live with her doing the script. Wow. And that script implants a word in a member of the audience's mind. So all of the sketches propel the story along, and stuff actually happens. There's a beginning, a middle, and the end, and dramatic twist, and stuff actually happens during the show. If you see what I mean, it's not just a series of tricks, if you like. There are events, there are characters that come in and out of the show. It's really, really ambitious, but I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean that sounds totally incredible. Basically, it's the only word I can think of. Because you started off and you've been doing this as your own show, and then basically, if you got a bit more finance behind you, a bit more support, that's allowed you to kind of say, okay, well, what can I do with this then? If you're getting live music and sketches and stuff. And
I would like to say the answer to that is yes. But,
it's not, no.
What's actually happened is I am blessed, absolutely blessed. In 2011, Mick Perry, who is a promoter who looks like Eddie Izzard, and Russ Noble, and Simon Amstel, and Ardal O'Hanlon, and Dylan Moran. He came and saw me above a pub, 3 Sisters in Edinburgh, and said, right, next year I'd like to bring you back to Edinburgh and put you on, and we'll look at that. If we we look to try and grow you to the point where we can put on a national tour for you. So in terms of Edinburgh, Mick promotes my show, he puts on my show, but not anything else. The tour I'm doing currently, I'm doing at my own back, and I've sung, just in development on this show, I've sung $8,000 into development on this show.
Right, okay.
Just like, literally taking a bank loan. But Mick going to tour the show. We've literally just agreed in the last sort of month. Mick's going to tour the show in spring 2014 with a proper national tour.
Right, okay.
So, whilst, Mick's not going to put the money into the development of the show, it does mean that I know that there's someone out there that will hire a tour bus for me and, get me into, pay for the hotel bills while we're on tour and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of knowing it just down the line has meant that I've been brave enough to make that sort of level of investment in the show. But, yeah, it's an expensive show to do. It really is. I wish I was just a man with a mic.
Yeah, well, you can't do what you want to do with just that, can you? So you've had to take that step.
And
so did you get the concept for the show first, and then
the guys at Perry say to me that what they like about me, I'm not just other bloke in a suit or somebody with a great haircut and skinny jeans telling jokes. I've got a different sort of show for them to market. And that's what they like about it.
Yeah, well, certainly unique. Your previous show, never mind this show. This sounds incredible. I mean, obviously the people are going to be saying different things on stage every night, and then you've got these actors on videos, and somehow that's all going to tie in, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you sit down? Did you get the concept of this just out of the blue, or did you say, I mean, how did you go from what you were doing to try and do this? Was it...
So in last year's show, I taught the audience how to dissect lies, how to impart suggestions. Everyone went home with a mind trick they could do at home, and the show closed. And you can put this up on YouTube. There's at least 5 versions of it up on YouTube. But the show closed with a random audience member on stage. I taught them to read the minds of 3 members of the audience, and that's how the show closed.
Yeah.
And literally, I think I got off stage about the third week of Edinburgh, and I was talking to some guys from Victoria, and they said, "So this is going amazingly well. What are you going to do next year?" And I went, "How about next year? You know how we end it with like random audience and reading minds? How about if that was the whole show?"
Right.
And they just wrote it from there.
Really?
And, you know, I've been really fortunate in that I knew I wanted to get stronger elements of sketch comedy in there. So I called in a couple of writers. So I've been working with James Hamilton of Casual Violence and Guy Kelly from the Beta Mouse.
Uh-huh.
So all of the sketch comedy stuff has been co-written by the 3 of us, which has been, you know, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I seen a bit on your Facebook yesterday. You said you're very happy with the sketch you recorded.
Yeah, it was the final sketch of the show. I've still got one more to do, to be fair. I've got one more thing this Sunday.
Uh-huh.
The one that will be the final sketch in the show we recorded yesterday. I'm really excited about it. I can't say too much about it, but it's a spoiler. What I can tell you is, I kind of had my kind of I'm trying to think of an actor that has a lot of makeup. I can't remember, but I ended up sort of with 3 hours in makeup yesterday. Have a load of prosthetics fitted for the scene.
All right.
I think people are really going to love it. I think it's really funny. But you can see the opening sketch. Well, because I'm a fairly kind of guy. The opening sketch is also the trailer for the new show.
I just watched that with the children.
Huh?
With the 2 children.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
You sitting
So
in the
that's
chair.
the opening sketch of the show.
Yeah, I
that
really...
opens and then I walk on stage and it all gets very rock and roll.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was well done.
Sorry, mate, the line's really confusing because I can't tell if it's you talking or it's the echo for me. But
yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm almost kind of channeling Stephen Fry in the sketch, as you know. So kind of literally the switch from that is that we finished that. The stage goes back and I walk on, and suddenly it's all very kind of rock and roll and Russell Brand.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a good opening, definitely. I laughed at that sketch. In that sketch, did you say there's no such thing as psychic?
That's right. There's another reason why all the psychics in the world hate me. I mean, you know what I'm doing. It's a weird thing, right? If I had to put my mortgage on it, I would say that there are no such thing as psychics.
That's exactly
absolutely scientifically correct. The only thing I can say is I have never seen anyone who is psychic. I have never seen anything that I couldn't replicate using the methods that I use, which I state in the show as being, you know, statistics, persuasion techniques, criminal influence, and cheating and lying. Anything I've been presented with that people said is psychic, I could reproduce using those skills. And I have reason to believe that is what they are doing. Obviously, I can't prove that. The great thing about it is it's proven from their perspective. The great thing about being psychic is, well, you can't prove that. It's not.
Yeah. But
I would put my mortgage on not being real.
You must have you ever had a reading from a psychic and they've told you stuff, you know, I mean, some of the stuff they tell you, it's just like sometimes they come out the bat with something that's quite real in your life and you think you can do things like that.
Well, you know, this is stuff I've studied. It's so there's a lot of stuff going on there. So the first thing is, the broad thing is, it's a skill called cold reading.
Mm-hmm.
So the cold reading, what a lot of people think cold reading is something called the Forer effect. And the Forer effect is there are statements you can make that people will relate back to themselves. That's not cold reading, but they'll do that. They'll make statements that are broad statements. So, for example, they might say, and this isn't something I do, but they might say, for example, that you lost an elderly relative in the last 15 years, and there was something going on with their chest. Yeah, so they might say that because everybody has. And then what you'll do is you'll try and relate that back. You'll go to Uncle Fred, Was that my granny? Was it, you know, and you'll try and make those back stick you. The other thing is they cold read you and they watch you and go, he reacted when I said, Chet, let's try and fish a bit more and work out if that was a heart attack. And that's cold reading. They'll see how you react and then change their shtick to try and fit it. But also then you've got things like psychological principles like confirmation bias, which is once you've already bought into it a bit, they can get 20 things wrong. If they get one thing that you perceive to be absolutely right, that's the only thing that you'll remember. So that's kind of how those things work.
Yeah, okay. So that was a bold statement at the start of the show anyway.
So again, sorry?
I mean, that was quite like a bold statement to put out there at the start of your show.
Yeah. But to be fair, there are callbacks to that.
All right.
Because, and there's a little bit of a swallow. Even though I kind of state through the show that there's no such thing as psychics, it's just possible that the person on stage might end up being proven to be psychic.
All right. And then,
or at least for the context of the show.
Yeah. So basically, you said, you know, at the end of the last show, you made people read the audience minds, or you put, like I seen you doing the TV show in Holland where you got the presenter to basically pick three things, and I was amazed at how you just kind of spoke to him. Obviously, we don't know what you said, and he was amazed that I just do that, you know, and then he got those 3 words coming out. I mean,
well, that's what closes. That's what closes how to read minds and influence people. You know, and I've done. I must have done about best part of sort of 60 dates with that so far. And there's at least 4 to 5 videos where people have recorded the end of them and sent me the video, and I've kind of put that up on YouTube so people can see it's different every time. It's a different person every time. You know.
Yeah. Can I ask you? Has it ever went wrong? You know, is any time? Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
What do you feel like when it's going wrong then?
The thing about what I'm doing is because it's not like magic tricks. It's a magic trick. So if you've got a magic trick, you've got a card trick, you can rehearse that over and over again, so you can't possibly get it wrong. Because what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing tricks with people and principles, if you see what I mean. Yeah? And kind of the way they act. So sometimes inevitably it's going to go. The way the shows are designed, they're designed so if it does go wrong, I'm the only person that knows. So instead of something that, let's say there's a wow factor which goes from 0 to 10, and 10 is unbelievable, 5 is quite impressive, anything under 5 is whatever, anything between 5 and 10 is, that's pretty good. You know, things are designed to be a 10, sometimes they go wrong. And if they go wrong, I'm the only one that goes wrong. We'll switch to plan B, and plan B will get me a 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah? So a lot of them are like that. And kind of, you know, part of what I'm doing as I go into kind of rehearsals for the new show, because the first kind of proper preview of it is May 4th. As I go into the kind of the final stage of the new show, what I'm doing now is I'm working out my plan Bs. When the plan A's go wrong, that's actually proving to be the toughest thing. Because like, if I'm doing it, I can see it's going wrong and change tack, and that's easy. But if it's a random audience member doing it, they don't know. So I have to have that extra layer of difficulty where it's like, I can see they're going to get this wrong. I need to switch tact and somehow save it so she still gets a result, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was going to ask you, actually, if you've done any previews, you know, because how do you set a show up like this and then take it on the road? You know, and as you say, it's good you're working on the fallback, so you don't actually have to make them up there and then, so you've kind of got things in reserve, yeah? Yeah,
exactly right, yeah. Yeah, there are kind of fallback positions, and hopefully they'll never be used. If they are, no one will ever know unless they happen to come and see the show the next night and go, that was even more impressive tonight. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's really hard, you know. I'm kind of, the rehearsals start in 2 weeks. Now, I've got kind of 2 weeks of really intense rehearsals, and that'll be with my friends. That'll be like invited audiences.
Right.
But you can't really rehearse it without an audience, because if it's basically I'm doing a 2-man show, and one of the people every night is someone that's never seen the show or the script before. So it's really hard to rehearse. So a lot of the kind of initial rehearsals will be the kind of the stuff that will be the same every night, which is the comedy sketches and the comedy lines and the physical comedy and the thing with the big machine, the brain matizer and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of doing the core stuff, the mentalism. I've got to have a new person that doesn't know what's going on every time, and an audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, but like 2 intensive weeks, one preview, and then we're off to Brighton Fringe. Well,
Yeah.
hey.
Well, we're obviously very excited about it. I'd just like to ask you a little bit about the comedy element, because was that always been part of it, you know? Or have you developed that more? Did you go into comedy clubs? Are you inspired by comedians? What's made you go into this field?
There's a lot of things to answer with that. Firstly, yeah, I'm far. I hope this doesn't sound arrogant. I'm actually just genuinely answering the question. I am far more inspired by comedians than I am by mentalists. And even mentalists, I look at them and go, "Oh my God, I could never be as good as you." Even they don't inspire me as much as comedians do. I love comedy, always have, and kind of, you know, when I first started doing this, I mean, I spent 8 years, 9 years. 8 years doing kind of making my living doing corporate after dinner shows, and because it was corporate world, you know, that my shows needed to be more straight. I thought at the time, and it was very like Darren Brown, Me Too, Darren Brown show, and I kind of realised that I wanted to make my show as different as I could to his. And I kind of looked at what my assets, what are the skills I've got, and I realised I am quite funny. I've always been quite funny, so I also realised that. Because I've seen comedians I've been at comedy nights where you've seen the guy kind of go, "Yeah, I'm the funniest bloke in the office, so I can do this, get on stage and die on his arse."
Yeah.
So I wasn't that stupid.
Yeah.
So I did a comedy course and kind of just started doing the circuit, and I started doing so. Then when my day job at this point was going out performing a mentalism show, I then started doing the circuit as kind of a hobby.
Yeah.
With you know, a stand-up act, and I just kept going with that, and just the learnings I was taking from that, I started feeding back into the main show to start making that funny. And then I kind of stopped doing comedy. I stopped doing stand-up comedy at the point where I was getting kind of paid tens, and you know, could actually legitimately say, yeah, I'm okay now. I'm an okay stand-up. I'm getting paid gigs, and then just stopped. Because I kind of done what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And then from there, just sort of started working harder and harder and harder on making the kind of main act funny. And you know, I'd say last year, it just occurred to me that an angle that no one's ever gone down before is kind of, you know, interweaving kind of sketch comedy into it as well. So there are kind of scripted stand-up jokes in there. There are some physical jokes in there, and that there are sketches. There are sketches.
Yeah. When you were doing stand-up, did you ever improvise, or were you always kind of a material man? You know, everything was word perfect every night.
I always used to try and improvise, because I was going to stand up in a weird place, because most people don't have those skills. Don't forget, by this point, I was already at the stage where I'd done. Oh God, I hate to think I must have done well over 1,000 shows. They just happened to be mentalism shows. So I was good with audiences.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my show is all about working with the audience. I was good with audiences. I was good with improvisation. I was good at improvising, you know, comedy live, because I kind of did that in my straight and serious mind reading show. I'd make little quips up, you know.
Yeah.
So I had all those skills. So it was just adding material to that, you know. So I already had that bit nailed, and then I got better at it because I was kind of doing it with. But, you know the way you do it. You know, you go out, you take a piece of material, you hone material, you hone it. You write an hour's worth of jokes, and you end up with 1 minute of solid stand-up. You know, I was just lucky enough to kind of had the sort of audience management skills already in place before I started doing that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's quite a lot of the learning of stand-up. Actually, is just, you know, getting used to a microphone with people all around you. You know. So,
I already had that. I just didn't have decent material.
Yeah, well, blag it till you make it. Yeah, sometimes it's actually just your confidence can pull a gig off.
Oh yeah. I blagged my way through, but I always felt kind of dirty doing that, because the object for me was to learn to do it kind of properly. You know what I mean? But there were gigs where I blagged my way through by doing that. Absolutely.
So who in comedy inspired you? Who do you like?
So many people. I really love Ross Noble. I love his energy. I love the way he kind of spins off the audience. Although my type, that, I mean, it was very kind of gag, 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 gag. I mean, they're not one-liners, but very gag-like. In terms of one-liners, I really love what a craftsman. No matter what else you might think about him, man, what a craftsman Jimmy Carr is. I really love that. A lot of kind of.
Have you heard of Stuart
people
Francis?
kind of coming through the circuit who are just really, really, really inspiring. I mean, I really like. I don't know if you've ever seen Bethany Black. I think she's terrific. Juliet Myers, brilliant gag master. And then you've got lots of the kind of really strong kind of character acts. So people like Marcel Lecomte, if you've seen that.
Yeah,
so clever. Really, really wonderful things with words. And I guess it's probably one of my all-time comedy heroes is Richard Herring. Just man's a genius.
Yeah, he's very silly at times, yeah.
Sorry?
He can be quite silly and childish, but it's really...
Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, it's good. Also like his partner as well, Stuart Lee. Do you like him?
Yeah, I kind of hesitate to say that because it's just almost a cliche as a comedian to say you like Stuart Lee. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he inspires me. If anything, he makes me think that I'm stupid to even think I'd never try and make anyone laugh. But I saw Daniel Kitson do stand-up for the first time this year at the Edinburgh Fringe. You remember he had the show on the stand that kind of sold out in 15 minutes flat.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky that Bernard O'Leary, who's the comedy editor of The Skinny, snagged a couple of tickets. And so me, Bernard, and I don't know if you know Jay Richardson, who I think is probably the best writer-on comedy in the country, we went to see Daniel Kitson do his new stand-up show. And it was the first time I'd ever seen him. They'd both seen him before. And we sat in the front row, and it was an hour long. And I just couldn't believe what he was doing. And he was kind of he was doing things with the form and structure of stand-up that shouldn't work. And he was adding theatricality to it in a way that was kind of should have been cliched, but was actually genius. And the whole thing, the way it interwove and it had structure and it had peaks and troughs and it had almost like you could almost map it out against the patterns of dynamics you have in great pieces of drama, and it blew me away. I've never seen anything before like it since, and it just made me want to give up performing. It was that good, just unbelievably good. But I'm not sure that inspires me. I think that just depresses me.
Remind me not to go and see him.
Yeah. Astounding. I'm going to see him again in about a month. I think it's in 2 days after the show. The two nights at Brighton Fringe with the new show. I'm going to see him 2 days after that, and I'm really glad it's after rather than before.
Yeah. So
now, look, I asked you at the beginning. Should we try something? You said you sort of kind of gave me a bit of a chance if I couldn't think at a distance with you.
yeah, I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
And I asked you to get 5 objects, didn't I?
Yep.
Do you remember? Yeah. So just for the benefit of the people at home, I'll just list what the objects are. But I've asked you to get a £5 note, a 50p, an orange, a pen, and a mug, and you've laid those all out in a line. I asked you to do as well, didn't I? Yeah.
Yep, I've got them on a small table to my left-hand side here.
Okay, fine. And I also sent you an email, which hopefully you haven't opened, but is on your PC ready to be opened. Yeah.
That's correct. Yep.
Cool. See, one of the things. What I can't do, people can't say, can you predict stuff? And I can't really predict stuff. But what I can do is I can make educated guesses about the way people are likely to make decisions, and then try and phrase some questions to get you to make the decisions in the way that I think you're most likely to lead to a predetermined point, if that makes sense. So you've got those 5 things in front of you. You've got one at the far left.
Yep.
You've got one at the far right, and you've got one in the middle, right?
That is correct, yep.
Okay. What I want you to do is, right now, choose, and just so everyone can hear, just say which one. So right now, choose far left, far right, or in the middle.
You want me to say one of those 3, yeah?
Yeah.
Far left.
Far left. Okay. We'll just take that off the table.
Okay.
So you're now left with 4 things, yeah?
Yep.
You can now either take away the 2 at the end or the 2 in the middle. Which do you want to take away?
We'll take away the 2 in the middle.
You're going to take away the 2 in the middle, right?
Yep.
So you're now left with something on the left.
Yep.
And something on the right, yeah?
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you which one you're going to get rid of. So left or right, And I'm going to do that when I count to three. So when I count to three, you're going to say either left or right. 1, 2, 3.
Right.
The right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I want you to do is open up that email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Bingo. Well done. I can see the top
Is it
of your
open?
head, and I can see the picture that's coming, and you were right, yes.
Was it right? It was an orange,
It's
yeah?
an orange, yeah.
Brilliant.
Superb.
Hooray!
Well done. That's pretty impressive. So,
Hooray.
I mean, you must get asked all the time, how do you do that, basically, yeah?
And what I always say is, come to the show and I'll teach you.
I thought you might say that. So do you have to volunteer to get on stage to learn?
No, well, I mean, it depends. I mean, it's a difficult thing. As you can see, I'm juggling a lot of stuff in my shows. But
Yeah.
in How to Read Minds and Influence People, I literally kind of break down what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, etc.,
Yeah.
as I go along. In that show, I sometimes I'll demonstrate it. Sometimes I will show you and break it down bit by bit as I go. And as I say, at the end, everybody gets a mind trick they can go away with, and somebody actually learns to do it live on stage. In the new show, there's less explanation, but somebody gets to do a mind reading show, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
But it literally is always what I'm saying is a combination of statistics, persuasion techniques, subliminal influence, and cheating and lying.
Yeah.
That's how I'm doing it.
Yep. And you're obviously very entertaining with it.
Say again, sorry?
And you're very entertaining with it as well.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Usually the punchlines are a bit faster. But,
yeah. Well, you got lots of good reviews at the Edinburgh Festival, and that must have been a big thrill for you to win the 3 Weeks Award, yeah?
Oh, it was amazing.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely amazing. I really literally couldn't believe it. I was gobsmacked. But to be honest with you, I was shocked to get Best Cabaret Brighton Fringe, because let's not forget. Obviously Edinburgh is the doozy, but Brighton is still kind of the third biggest arts festival on the planet. And I knew I was shortlisted, but I just didn't think there was any way I could get it. So I took a gig that night. They phoned me as I was driving the gig, and they said, "So you're coming for our awards tonight. Can you do 5 minutes for us?" And I was like, "I can't come."
Oh.
And they said, "You've got to come."
Yeah.
What do you mean I've got to come? Well, I can't say,
yeah.
but you've got to come.
And look
Is there
surprised.
someone you can send in Brighton? And literally the only person I could think of in Brighton I could send that I knew that would do it for me was, I don't know if you'll remember, but 80s supermodel Annabelle Giles.
All right.
It was my Bono movement. I'm not coming to a reward ceremony.
Yeah.
I'm sending a supermodel.
That's good.
So that was cool. Uh-huh. But yeah, 3 weeks was amazing. I was so chuffed.
And did that lead to anything? Did that kind of open doors for you? Was that kind of help you get the Mick? Was it Mick Ferrin?
No, I was already with Mick, and what was really great was, he was thrilled. It's suddenly, his decisions were validated.
Yeah.
It's an act he picked up from the middle of nowhere, and within 12 months, I'd picked up two awards. So, I'm sure he was really thrilled with that. But I'm in a weird position where I've got a fantastic promoter, absolutely fantastic promoter. I genuinely think Mick is the biggest, the best, and most important comedy promoter there is. As Harvey Goldsmith is to promoting music, so Mick is to promoting comedy. And plus, he's a really great bloke. Right. The flip side of that is he doesn't manage acts, so I still don't have any management. You would think winning 2 awards would help with that, but it's harder. A lot of the sort of management companies and agencies, they look at me and go, "I really love what you're doing," and then go, "Oh, right, you're not just a straightforward comedian, though, are you?" So that means it's quite difficult for us, and we'd have to think hard about it. We love what you're doing, but I just don't think we've got time.
Oh, right.
It's easy. Just help me. But yes, I'm in a weird position where I've literally got a national tour happening next year. I would love to give somebody 15% of that, and I can't get anyone to manage me.
That's unbelievable, eh? Yeah, that's incredible. So you are actively looking for a manager then, yeah?
Yeah, very much so.
Right,
If
well,
anybody's listening,
exactly.
for the love of God, call me.
Yeah.
I've got too much going on that's stopping me being creative.
Yeah, sometimes the other side of things can take over, you know. Sometimes I get bogged down in, you know, bullshit like Facebook or Twitter and stuff and forget about actually writing stuff and working on your act, you know.
Well, you know, I spend a lot of time on Facebook and Twitter kind of selling and promoting my shows. At the moment, you know, the shows I'm doing,
Yeah.
I'm promoting them.
You are the man.
You know, until kind of, the exception of it, obviously, Nick's promoting Edinburgh and he'll be promoting the tour next year. But, you know, literally, I've got, 26 dates at Edinburgh, and I've got a total of 40 dates this year, including those 26. So the other 30, whatever that is, I'm self-promoting of those. So, you know, I'm going out and kind of literally drumming up ticket sales, you know, and I do all that through Facebook and Twitter. But it's more kind of, you know, I've got to find a projector for this venue, and you know, these other guys have sort of sent the contract through, but they haven't put the right details on it, or someone else is saying, "Oh, we really love the image you've sent us for our brochure, but it's in landscape. Can we have a portrait one, and can we have it in an hour?" Yeah. You know, the deadline's today, and all that stops me working on the show, and I just want someone to take that away.
Yeah,
you
because
know,
all these small things, it's even, you know, changing banners and websites, or it's amazing. It's all time consuming, and time goes like that before you know it, the day's done, you know. And then basically, what did you achieve? Just these small things that it's not actually the big thing you need to be working on. Yeah,
exactly right. And yeah, I literally, you know, I'm not looking. I mean, I am looking for a manager to help me propel my career forward. But at this stage, I'd settle for someone just taking the admin off me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, hopefully, we'll get this interview out there, and hopefully, I'll get a few people help to promote you and get them to come and see your show. We'll actually be in Edinburgh this year.
Cool.
So I'll definitely come and see your show and be nice to chat to you and whatnot.
That'd be really lovely. I'm on at 6:30 in the Village Room with a Gilded Balloon.
Okay. Do you do any other slots when you're in Edinburgh? Do you just do your own show and kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I have a really high work ethic, so I'm already. Well, I've got to sort out exactly how many, but I'll be doing slots with Vive Le Cabaret, which is an amazing variety show. Also, Lily Scholars variety show, which is a brilliant show. And you know, I'm absolutely open to kind of just coming along and you know, just if I've got time, I will turn up and play your show. That's a promise.
Okay, well,
I was doing an average of kind of 3 to 4 spots a day last year in Edinburgh. I have a very, very big work ethic.
That's cool. Well, I'm not actually doing a show, but I've got lots of friends who are, so I'll keep you in mind and see if we can get you a shot in their show, yeah?
Yeah.
So what's your website? You've got a couple of websites. You've got one, DougSegal.com, yeah?
I've got two websites. So I've got the sort of grown-up corporate one, which is all smart and slick and cool, but a bit foul because it's for companies that don't want to be terribly frightened by me. So that's DougSegal.com.
Yeah.
And then I've got a sort of ramshackle website, which is my tour site and my public site with kind of, you know, tour dates and stuff on it. Both of these I haven't updated in ages because I just haven't time, but that one is DougSegal.co.uk.
Okay, do you not have another one called I Know What You're Thinking?
Yeah, DougSegal.co.uk direct
points
to
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's fairly easy for people to remember, and they can look you up on Twitter and Facebook, yeah?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. And say hello. I'm very approachable.
Okay, that's cool. Well, thanks very much for spending that time with me today, Doug.
And thank you. It's been great fun, Billy.
Yep, and all the best to you, and I'll definitely catch up with you in Edinburgh, yeah?
Aces, all the best, fella. Take care.
Looking forward to the show, man. All the best with it.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.